All right, if you just joined us, this is Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. Now to our main conversation. In a one-day event aimed at addressing the challenges of youth involved in cybercrime and how religion has been used as a weapon for reorientation, themed Youth, Religion and Fight Against Corruption, the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede, disclosed that while the EFCC was investigating a 13 billion naira fraud case, it discovered a religious body was found to be protecting a money launderer after 7 billion naira of the 13 billion naira was linked to the religious body's bank account. While the anti-graft agency approached the religious organization about it, the religious sect obtained a restraining order stopping them from carrying out their investigation, which the EFCC have appealed in order to recover the stolen funds. According to Olukoyede, religious organizations, institutions, sects, and bodies have been found culpable of money laundering for terrorists and corrupt politicians. To do justice to this very big story today, still in the studios with me is Mr. Cyril Baku. Thank you so very much for still hanging on. And joining us on the main conversation today is Dr. Victor Ohai. He is a public affairs analyst. Thank you so very much, sir, for being part of our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, gentlemen, let's go into the main issue we have today. And of course, it's the big dog, and that is money laundering. And I think it's very important we define this. When it comes to the Christian sect, it's said that money laundering in the church is allowing corrupt money to be combined with legitimate funds acquired by church officials. And according to Sharia law, it prohibits illegal gain, and it states that illegal activities converted into legitimate business is illegal money from an Islamic viewpoint. Now, gentlemen, what do you think is the remote cause of this? Understanding that the two religious sects have come to say that this is not good, it's not okay. Then where do we think this is coming from? I'd love to start with you, Doctor.
Okay. I'm going to broaden it to not only the religious organizations, but NGOs generally.
Okay.
Non-governmental organizations or charitable organizations. They are natural recipients of, if you like, endowments, gifts, and funding, grants from all over. So it's easy. Let me use churches as an example. A person comes and says, "This is my tithe." He doesn't even have to tie it with his name. He can just come and bring it cash and drop in church. It's a gift.
Yeah.
You understand? Anybody can come and donate anything to the church. And so, because NGOs, I want to use that broad, whether mosques, churches, or whatever the NGO, non-governmental organization is, or charitable organization is, they are constantly looking for money, begging for money, appealing for donations and all that. It's easy for people to say, look, you know, I can pass this money through you. You know, it will seem like this, and then many of them are open and amenable. If an NGO right now says it has received $1 million to provide water in villages around Nigeria, ordinarily you will not question it. You know, you say the NGO is lucky or is blessed.
Exactly.
They got a huge gift or donation. And so nobody is checking the quality of well or even whether the wells were actually done or not. You just have your annual return, say we did a well here, we did a well there, we did a well there. Auditors don't go to do fiscal audit. So it makes it easy to use them as channels for, you know, pushing through illegal money or laundering. You know what laundering is? Like washing. Like you launder, you wash. It's easy to wash money through them, to launder money through them. And so, I mean, that's what it is. Where I see it. So, I mean, charitable organizations basically, generally, I mean, there are other organizations as well, but our focus here is on the religious organizations, and I need to add NGOs.
Exactly.
We'll talk about other means of laundering, but if we have to get to that, we'll get to that.
Exactly. So, Mr. Cyril, there's no gainsaying that religious organizations, just like Dr. did say, need money to operate, to function. How do you think we can absolve such religious organizations with issues? For example, Yahoo, a fraudster, makes $1 million, and as tithe decides to come drop $100,000. That's about 100 million naira to the church, right? And knowing that this young man, obviously, you can't trace, there's no traction to where he got his money from. How do you think it's possible for churches, I mean innocent ones here, how do you think they can absolve themselves of such issues?
So I have an extant case of a pastor who came out and said people brought money like that to him, Yahoo boys, and said, "We've made gain, pastor." And if I remember the story well, he had wanted to inquire to know how the money came. Because a lot of times, some persons come and say, like Victor was saying, when you give money to a church, it's not traceable. Somebody could just put it there and say, "I've come to give God his own." But there are times they come and say, "This is for the man of God," or for the cleric himself. So it was one such case that the man was asking, "How did this money?" So he said, "I won't take it, go." They took the money to another pastor who took it, and I think was dead within a week or a month. Now, when you're asking how they can be absolved, if they live above board and are seen to live above board, it will help to serve as an example, because the Bible says that ye are the light of the world. Is that not so? So children of God are supposed to be the light of the world. You shine. In fact, it was said that one man, that he was both a burning and a shining light. So you have to make it clear. You should be an organization or a person that people who do these things would rather not come near you, because they know that not only will you reject it, you will also expose them. So that's one layer of it.
Okay.
But bringing the matter to Mr. Olukoyede's submission yesterday, the matter is multifaceted. But let me again throw a caveat into what Victor said earlier. The point of NGOs being conduit for politicians. In fact, if you want to investigate and look and put NGOs down to some shady things they do, NGOs have been accused in Nigeria in as early as the 9th Assembly of being 8th or 9th Assembly of being spies for foreign countries. Because when you take money and you go to remote villages and you take data in the name of you want to supply, sorry Victor,
Sorry for that.
to say you want to supply pipe-borne water, you want to supply, you want to build schools, you want to, normally you would have received data to say there are only 12 schools in Ebonyi, there are 13 schools in this local government area, and in order to bridge the shortfall, we have to build 13 more schools. Now you are gathering intelligence whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
So this information is fed back to the donor countries, which claim is intelligence. And of course, we've seen manifest case of human intelligence where NGOs, people who run NGOs have been arrested because they were where they shouldn't have been at the time they were arrested. So that's by the way. But it is not to say that there are no good NGOs who are doing very good work. Now, again, still talking about philanthropy, right? Now, this is not moving for the NGOs. Philanthropy is undertaken by NGOs, politicians, businessmen, even churches and mosques. Am I correct?
Yeah.
If I stand to be corrected, but I can tell you that if you took graft and malfeasance out of the monies that have been used for philanthropy in Nigeria, I can tell you that close to 80% of what has been done will be reversed.
Okay.
Let me say it again.
Yeah.
If you took all the philanthropy that has gone on in Nigeria, let's say even in the past 30 years, if you brought it on one table and took out all the ones that came through corrupt money, what will be left on that table will be less than 20% of everything that has been done. Community football tournament organized by who? Politicians. So he's building the money that should have been used through the budget so somebody has cornered it, and in the name of philanthropy, he will come back and say he's building a church or building it. So these things are there. But veering off from all of the exceptions and coming back to the head of what Mr. Olukoyede said yesterday, that there is a religious sect laundering money for terrorists. So you see, it may be argued that philanthropy is a lesser crime than terrorism. All crime are crime. But philanthropy is a less harmful crime. Because in the end, we will roll back what has been done. But we want to punish the person who did what he did because he did it the way he did it. But in the case of terrorism, you will seek to both roll back the damage of terrorism and punish the person who committed that terrorism. Now, you see, because for a long time, there has been this clamor for us to check and stop illicit cash or illicit financial flows. Laundering, like Dr. White said earlier, is that somebody steals money from government and has to clean it, wash it, take away all the trappings or evidence that it came from government. That money can travel through 10 different companies or can travel through 15 different countries. But when it comes back to where it came from, you will not have any trace of it that this money was the original money that was stolen. And these monies oftentimes end up in the wrong places. We are talking about Nigerian sisters who were kidnapped in Abuja and they had to pay ransom, right? From 6 to 100, from 100 to 2 million. When they take those monies, if those monies are not laundered, the people who sponsor this terrorism cannot take those monies. You know what I'm going on? Because you can't just take that money, 200 million out to somebody bank and then go to the bank. They will arrest him there. That money now has to travel. Maybe that money will go to Lebanon, Syria, Jamaica, Brazil, Spain, Argentina, before finally comes back to Nigeria.
It will come back in the form of Tokumbo cars and brand new cars.
All sorts of things.
So final sell.
Yeah. It will now be sold here and then the cash will now be.
Come back there. So as legitimate. So but that a religious sect is helping to launder money, which means this is an active participant in criminality.
Yes.
This is a collusion between party and party coming together to have a business model, which means that that business is also a shareholder, because you cannot do that kind of work for free. So in the end, they will take a percentage of what is coming out, while the main sponsor of terrorism keeps. Now, for how long has this been going on? And why did Mr. Olukoyede stop short of naming them? You see, maybe because it was such a conference and he needed to give them sound bites.
But possibly investigation
is still ongoing. And you came out to say it. What have you now done? That's why I always said that what we need in this country is, one, there is an element in criminal justice operation that Nigeria does not pay attention to at all. It is called indictment. What is an indictment? First, there is a suspicion or intelligence report that says such a person has been found to be involved in so and so. You investigate. When you have your evidence, you indict. After you've indicted, you can arrest before indicting, or you can indict before you arrest. After you've indicted or arrested, you charge to court. You prosecute. You arraign, you prosecute. Then there's a conviction. There's a sentence and there's a conviction and there's a sentence. Hopefully. But you see, when you don't indict, as now this matter that Mr. Olukoyede has raised, believe me, in another 1 year,
Kill it off.
in another 1 year, the matter would have died a natural death.
No name was mentioned.
What you should have done is to be quiet about it. Evidence is evidence. You wait. Once you have gotten, look, you see, that's terrorism that this religious sect is sponsoring. Is sponsoring, because he has said they are doing money laundering. It's sponsorship. You are sponsoring terrorism. It means that a religious body in Nigeria is sponsoring terrorists, not outside of Nigeria, but right here in Nigeria. We have terrorism going on in Benue, there's terrorism going on in Plateau, there's terrorism going on in Borno, there's terrorism going on in Zamfara, there's terrorism going on in Nigeria, actually. There's terrorism going on in Ekiti, all around the country, and that a body. Do you know that when DSS, was it DSS that said last 2 years ago that pipelines were being laid through religious organizations, like through churches and mosques? Pipelines for oil thieves were being laid under churches and mosques. Was it mosques instead of churches? Yes, but they said under. And I said, this now today, how many people have been arrested? And I said, you didn't have to say this. The DSS itself should be indicted. You know why? Because that was a self-indictment. Because ordinarily, the materials you use to construct the pipeline are not things you buy off the market just anyhow, right? They are not things you go to Joe buy or a lab or anyone like that to just buy. And even if you could buy the ones you wanted to use for oil theft, my argument was this at the time. I said, didn't they know when there was an uptick in the purchase of certain sensitive things that only hardcore engineering companies should be buying? Because you see, intelligence gathering is not a joke. Normally, when companies are registered to do business in Nigeria, oil theft is on the increase, they have to now undertake diligent intelligence. How many companies are supposed to be drilling oil? Where do they normally buy their stuff from? Or the ones that are used by the oil thieves, I don't mean imported. The quantity of things being bought and the ones that are being used is, if it's not equal, some are going to the black market. How do you now find out? But what they do is that the church tell you something has happened, and they seem not have a clue beyond just revealing what that first line of the revelation, and thereafter nothing happens. And I was saying, okay, so church didn't they know when business were being bought and being laid? They didn't see it. They're just getting to know when we are getting to know. I don't believe. I think that it is because of lack of political will that all that they are left to do is to come out and just say somebody did this or somebody did that. No name was mentioned. People are problem politicians are behind kidnapping. No name. Problem Nigerians are behind illegal mineral mining. No name. Problem religious sect is behind is sponsoring terrorism. No name. The government is not a gossip agent.
Exactly. So the government is not a gossip agent. But let's come back to the matter at hand. And Doctor, it's obvious that Nigeria is a deeply religious nation, and the Efcc chairman himself is a pastor, right? So which means that bias is traditionally there. But let's assume that he's equally an imam, right? And this case is before him. What do you think? Do you feel that there will be prudence in the management of such an evidence to the latter, knowing that you are a stakeholder in one of these religious organizations?
Okay, so I would assume it's first of all the security chief.
Okay.
He has a mandate. Again, I do not doubt that a lot of people can be conflicted in matters like this. For example, the church that is indicted or the mosque that is invited or the sect is his own. And if he's very fervent, fervency in this case is not necessarily in his relationship with God, but with the sect, you know, and then his sect leader says, my son, look the other way. And this sect leader happens to be your spiritual father.
True.
What do you do?
Exactly.
So that is where the issue of Nigerians being religious comes in.
Yes.
So you find a situation where there's a conflict. I would assume that, in fact, the fact that he has come out to say this, and I like the place he chose. He had religion, what do you call him now? The Sultan was there. Who are some of the other religious leaders that were there again?
There were youths and all, and lots of other religious.
Some religious leaders were there, and it is now in the public space, which means the presidency or the president is also aware. What would normally happen is, when things like this happen, you receive a phone call, and you are asked to look the other way or leave that matter. just as we say in street language, die that matter. Don't go there.
Yeah.
But he did what I consider a smart thing by throwing it out there, because the question will now be, even if he didn't report to the president directly, the president will take an interest now. I'm sure we're all wondering, what is the name of that sect?
Exactly.
You know, to what extent are they involved? So, and now that he has put it out there, the questions will come out, and he will be forced to give an answer. And once he does that, that is a commitment. In a sense, it's like an indictment, even though he has not made it public yet. Sometimes the reason you may not name certain things is to protect the integrity of your investigation, of your process. So I think it's a very bold move, and I'm hoping that it will not just end here, because as it is right now, the media will be interested. The presidency will be under pressure. He will be under pressure. And we'll have to wait and see what comes out of it. You know, so his religion may be difficult. It may be difficult for it to come into play now, because there's this, you know, he has thrown it out there in the public. If he buries the matter, it will become very obvious. You know, so you know, I think he did it deliberately so that the thing will not be killed. Maybe there was pressure. Just
to cut in here with apologies. My thinking is that we've seen this pattern from the police. We've seen this pattern with the DSS. We've seen this pattern with the Efcc now. I think the ICPC too. We're even seeing this pattern with the presidency itself.
So when you say see this matter, what do you?
I think that because government is sort of shall I say comatose or helpless, the much or the most they can do is to say some persons are. We are aware that some people are, but they will never name names. Neither will they boldly, because you see, the point is, when you have investigated and you're sure, as Americans say, you now have a smoking gun, the smoking gun that has the person's fingerprints on it. The proper thing to do is to set the law in motion, which we won't do in Nigeria. For a plethora of reasons. He has said you get a phone call saying die the matter in street lingo, which basically is a leave the issue. We are at the point where even they won't have to call it. The mere fact that he stopped short of naming names is clear that he himself understands the rules of the game, which is that's how far you can go no further.
Are you sure? Well, or is it a situation of course, not...
Mr. Olukoyede has the liberty to prove me wrong, which is fine. Of course.
I am suspecting that to free himself of that pressure is the reason he went to town with that. The reason being that, you see, if he wants it out there now, he will just put the plans in the media. They all do it. Yeah. And one of these, either through some investigative journalists will dig
deep and
around him.
Or the documents begin to leak, for example.
Yes, the documents will start leaking. Deliberately they put it out there. And then, so it puts more pressure on people. So I suspect that it's leading on to something. I hope he's legacy-minded. If he is, then this would certainly end in it will conclude very well. It will end very well in terms of a logical conclusion, unless he's not legacy-minded. No doubt, that job is a very dangerous one. Your life can be at threat.
True.
They can set you up. They can dig up all sorts of things you should blackmail you. But whoever is in that position must be steadfast. If they are legacy-minded, then they must stay focused on and remain focused on doing the job. You know, I think that if he keeps quiet, he will have blood not only on his hands but on his head. Because you cannot say an organization that is sponsoring something like this and keep quiet. I've always wondered myself, 100 million, 200 million, 50 million, 20 million. Where is this money going to?
You are talking millions.
Organized crime.
You still talk millions now?
No, I mean from kidnappings now. I'm not talking about terrorism.
Okay.
This is organized crime. And when they were organized crime, you have a band of lawyers, you have insiders in the system, in the security system, you have judges. I'm talking about another client. I don't know how it is here now, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You have lawyers well oiled, some of the very best. You have judges. You have insiders in the security system. In fact, these ones will always give you information. You know, you have people in government, politicians, people who are sponsored. So they are there to make sure that the interest is protected. And organized crime is very, very lucrative in the sense that there's a lot of money in it. A lot of money, and it's difficult to beat. It's very, very difficult. Because wherever you turn, you may be surprised that even your wife at home is a member of the cartel. You can't tell. They go as far as that. If they really mean you, they can actually sponsor a girl to go after it till she marries you. And she will remain on their payroll. So you marry to the enemy.
That's so coordinated.
In your bedroom, in your very bedroom, will be a member of the cartel. Your driver could be a member of the cartel. So you're surrounded. So if you say you are righteous, you remain the only righteous man. If they want to take you out, easy.
In a second.
So I'm afraid that Nigeria has gone to that point. I'm not saying it's going to. Because otherwise, these things would have been busted a long time ago. Why is it not busted? The reason is simple. They must already have people in the security forces who are informants. We had stories before now for the terrorists, how they sponsored people to go for training under the Nigerian army. As soon as the training was completed, they disappeared. This was as far back as even Jonathan's time. You understand? The president may not be aware now, but these people who are there, they sponsor these people.
So sort of like esponges.
Not just espionage. They use the apparatus of government to even train and equip these people. I mean, that's when they bring new pickups and all that, suddenly half of them disappear.
In one day, in the same day.
In the same day.
And the same day that was supplied.
That was supplied. So both arms, logistics, transportation, everything, and even you train them wittingly and unwittingly. As soon as this boy is finished, they are not looking for officer training. It's gun handling. So there are people who sponsor them and push them into the system. So they take the training. As soon as they're done, they disappear.
If you just indulge me, in a country where we've put merit on the back foot, I thought this was the same reason why we said if you wanted to be an army, join the army or police, you need to go to your village. Your family chief will sign. Your great grandfather will be brought up from the grave to sign. Council chairman will sign. The king of your hometown will sign. Your primary school headmistress will sign. If she's dead, her elders or having children will sign for you. All the signature, and if you have belonged to a church, they will sign for you. All these people are signing, and they cannot trace any of these people who have run away to arrest those people and say the person you sign for. How would you become a caricature of a nation? I thought when people don't know like that, you now got those who sign shorty for them. Even if it was an ML, whoever is even so, you must go after them and pick them and say, you must come and account for the person who has run away. Because to trace somebody in the army or DSS or anywhere, and the person now, what do you call them?
He absconds or something.
No, the person, there's going away, there's abscond, there's other. And the person becomes a deserter, he becomes a national security risk.
I have a question.
How did the armed become into a Nigerian lexicon? It was after the Civil War.
Yes, of course.
People are learned how to use guns.
It's a highway armed robbers. That's how it started first.
Yes. It was after the war. So when you disengage people from the army, what other things do they know how to do?
Okay. You should.
All right. So yes. Yes. Okay.
You see, when you talk about going to trades, going to the emirs and all that, who will do that? Is it the man who hired and put them there? His mission accomplished. Probably one commander somewhere. One commander somewhere. He is the one who, if he was not involved, he'll be the one to now say, who are their shorties. But if, God forbid, but as an example, say, I'm the one that organized these boys, and I push them in there, and I've hired some guys that said to put these people, I mean some generals, and I say our boys, put them there. If they are all part of the cartel, then what happens? When the boys go. Who will conduct investigation?
Yeah, but
it's mission accomplished.
If such, see, what I wouldn't do here, but what I wouldn't do here is to accept that it is entirely helpless, or I would, of course I understand. I completely agree with you, but there must be a tipping point where we begin to say we must reverse this misfortune, and that's where I'm coming from. My concern is that whoever is president, I mean, so in Nigeria, if even here we're discussing this at this level, I can tell you that the NSA of Nigeria, for example, has more than enough information. He is fed by the police, fed by NSCDC, fed by the almighty DSS, fed by NIA, fed by the army, fed by the Navy.
The information you are fed.
I know, but yeah. So if this is not trickling in, see how institutions are reduced to nothing. Under Buhari, the chief of staff to the president will be some, and this was the crassest of it, will be summoning the military defense chiefs, the military top brass, and be instructing them and be taking brief on them over and above the NSA, which was wrong.
Alright, constitutional.
But he was inviting, giving direct orders to the service chiefs. He should have been arrested and detained and prosecuted and sent to jail.
Exactly. So,
but we won't do this. That is why we almost call Mr. President to say, look, enough of these shenanigans we have had for so long as a country. The president has enormous powers. If when things linger like this for too long, it is because the president who has the powers to effect change has chosen to look the other way. And that would be very, very unfortunate for Nigeria.
Exactly. So, gentlemen, let's cost home because we are short of time. And I'd love to have your take on this. You know, given that we have all admitted that our religious organizations have become conduit pipes for laundering, do you think when it comes to religious freedom in Nigeria today, do you think we should start instituting agencies that will begin to check them? Do you think that is permitted? I'd love to have a take on that. Just 30 seconds.
Okay,
please.
so there is a body called the CAC that registers them. In fact, there's been some modifications to how you even relate to the CAC. I think your tax code is not even attached to, what's it called, to your certificate of incorporation. All of these are security measures, right? If you are an NGO registered with the CAC, there are a lot of bodies that are already very answerable to it. For example, the EFCC can check you for financial crimes and something like that. What we need to do is to strengthen the capacity of state institutions who already have the oversight over these organizations, like EFCC has done now, and be given the liberty to prosecute and see this matter to a logical conclusion. But I agree with Victor. He said, a phone call will come from someone and say, these people, leave them alone. What we must do, right, Henry? There are politicians, some of these sects are saying are not sects by themselves. So they are sects formed and founded by politicians who are the hand of Esau, but speaking to the voice of Jacob. So these bodies are there not because they want to even be there in the first place. They are there at the issue because somebody has, so this is what is going on. You know what I mean? So we must go back to the root of the problem. Every state institution, I can't stop anybody from opening a church or mosque, but every state institution that has the power to check, prosecute, regulate, and deal with all of these bodies should be given the liberty to do their work. And then you see that things will change.
Final take, Doctor.
What was the name of the man now investigating?
Jim Obazi.
Yes. You know, there was a time, it came into, at least in my view, I didn't know him before then. What brought him to national spotlight for me for the first time was when he went after religious institutions before, you recall, including his pastor, a very powerful General Overseer, to the extent that the General Overseer had to now relinquish his Nigerian overseership to now move on to the global one, and they appointed the national overseer. That shook the system no little. But like we always say, permit me to use street language again, mechanic not let us know mad people. You know, there are genuine men of God, and then there are those who, I said it before I came on here, it's sad, but it is the truth. Some unscrupulous businessmen, devilish, actually register churches and employ pastors to run them. It could be for laundering, it could be for whatever reason. Otherwise, why would you see a situation where we begin to hear all sorts of stories? Indeed, there are mixed multitudes.
Yeah.
And so I want to say that he that has nothing to fear should not be afraid of any investigation.
Yeah.
If they come after, they do it. It is to sanitize the system and separate the wheat from the chaff.
Exactly. He that has nothing to fear should really not be scared of any sort of investigation. I'd love to say thank you to Dr. Victor Hai for being part of our show today. It's nice having you, and to you, Mr. Cyril Abaku. Thank you so very much also for being part of our show today. Up next on Enterprise TV is our exclusive interview with the National Secretary of the New Nigerian People's Party, Chief Dipo Olayoku. You can join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Enterprise TV 7, and also follow us on all our social media platforms while you visit us on www.enterprisetvnews.com. This is all we have for our main conversation today. It's nice having you, and we'll see you tomorrow for yet another awesome time. I am Henry Igubike. Thank you for watching.